Vamos, estamos de nuevo aquí. Hoy domingo volvemos a un nuevo capítulo de Sheroes. Bienvenidos a todos y a todas. Gracias por estar aquí acompañándonos en este proyecto. Yo soy Hisluma. El día de hoy nos acompaña como traductriz Mañana. Y tenemos una gran invitada de Kenia. Ella inició su carrera en el deporte, en tenis, hizo un proceso deportivo y se enfrentó a algunas dificultades en cuanto a que este deporte exige una gran élite, no solamente deportiva, sino también económica, y decidió más tarde seguir con el deporte, pero empezó a hacerlo desde una posición, digamos, desde la administración, así que empezó a estudiar, a indagar cómo era todo este trabajo. Fue voluntaria en una organización que tenía que ver con el tenis en su país, de Kenia, y así sucesivamente fue trabajando, y hoy día es una gran administradora deportiva, trabaja para el Comité Olímpico de Kenia. Ella es la coordinadora de programas de este comité y también está comprometida con el tenis en su país, y no solamente con el tenis, sino también con el deporte. Trabaja fuertemente y siempre buscando llevar la voz del deporte y de su país a donde va. Tiene una maestría en administración deportiva y también hizo un curso en la Universidad País, o sea, y allí también se certificó en eventos, en dirección de eventos deportivos internacionales. Y bueno, ella hoy nos va a contar acerca de su trasigar en el mundo del deporte. So I was telling the story about you, and yeah, we're very pleased to meet you again here, and thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, and yes. Yeah, thank you very much for being here and accepting.
Or is there a delay?
Okay. Yeah, so I will wait. I will speak and I will wait a little bit because you have a delay. We have a delay here, so yeah, we will wait. Okay. So I was telling the story that you started playing tennis, and tell us more about this, your story. How did it start in tennis?
All right. I started tennis in secondary school, or high school, as some people call it. For sure, it was a bit late for me. I started at 14, which is a little late to start tennis, just in terms of development, skill development, the right skill development. But even so, I managed to play. I played for my secondary school. I managed to bring my best performance was a bronze medal when I was in third year of my secondary school. I brought a third position trophy from a national event in my fourth year in high school as well. So that was pretty good for my standards. And then I went on to play for my university. I went to Moi University. I was studying communication and public relations, and I also played for the university. I was the captain of my university team. I was also the captain of my secondary school team. In fact, people in my school used to know me as the tennis girl. Most of them didn't even know my name, but they knew me as a tennis girl. So that's how my journey in tennis started. Yeah.
Primero hay que avisar que la conexión no es tan rápida, entonces por eso puede que haya un espacio entre las preguntas y las respuestas, dejando el tiempo que ella escuche la pregunta. La pregunta era, ¿cómo empezaste con el tenis? ¿Qué te llevó al tenis? Ella contestó que en su colegio empezó con el tenis a los 14 años, porque es un poco tarde para empezar a desarrollar, para empezar a desarrollar habilidades con el tenis. Pero a pesar de eso, pudo lograr una medalla de bronce, era capitana de su equipo, también después siguió con el tenis en la universidad, que era también capitana y estudiaba allá en la universidad comunicaciones y relaciones públicas. Y también menciona que todo el mundo la conocía como la chica del tenis, sin ni siquiera necesariamente saber su nombre, se la conocía así como chica del tenis.
You started this journey playing tennis, and you mentioned that it was too late for your age. And by the time you started to play tennis, how did you face difficulties joining this sport at this age?
All right. So for me, I really didn't know that I was starting late. I came to know quite late into the sport. But when the first time that I knew I am behind is when probably I reached national levels. When I was in third year of my secondary education, I reached national competitions, and like I was sweeping people through the way all my way to nationals. But when I get to nationals, now I found players who were really advanced, like they were extremely good. I was thinking, okay, are we the same age? Like what, like that is when actually it started hitting me that I'm not at the same level as other people who are my age. So then that's when I found out that they started pretty early, like before they were 10 years old. They had coaches. I didn't have a coach. We just had teachers who were interested in tennis and they knew something about it. So I did not get a coach as early on, just because like my parents or my environment, we didn't have that kind of structure, so we didn't really know how to start. So that's when it was kind of embarrassing to get to national level, and like you're beaten 6-1, 6-0. But really my spirit did not die. I just kept trying and trying to be as best as better as the other players.
La pregunta era con relación a eso de que empezaste con el tenis tarde, a los 14 años, ¿qué tipo de dificultades encontraste? La respuesta fue que sí, que ya empezó tarde, pero que la primera vez que se dio cuenta del impacto que se podía tener fue cuando llegó a nivel nacional. Porque antes lo encontraba fácil, ganaba fácilmente, y después a nivel nacional realmente muy experimentada, y sí, me cayó de un golpe el hecho de que sí, de pronto había podido empezar tarde, porque los otros empezaban antes de los 10 años, tenían entrenadores, ella solamente tenía profesores que la podían ayudar, y es que ella no había creció con ese ambiente, ese tipo de estructura alrededor de ella del tenis. Entonces, al principio sentía como vergüenza por perder 6-1, 6-0 en frente de otra gente más experimentada, pero pues ahí empezó a pensar, bueno, tengo que mejorar.
Yeah, that was at the beginning of a sport, and losing that's difficult. I relate. And
did you also did you have the same challenges as me when you were starting in wrestling?
My experience was a bit different, because I started winning, and I won, and then I lost for the first time. I was like, and it was a very important competition. I was like, oh, this is difficult. But yeah, I didn't give up. I didn't give up. So I started to wrestling and to practice more. So I relate to your feeling.
Okay.
Sí, pues,
Yeah,
me
if
dice que
somewhere and others are extremely uh, good compared to you, then that was the point where now you start looking at, okay, where is the disconnect? Where did it go wrong for me? Then I found actually it's also in structures, in the structures of the sport, because like we were maybe 400 kilometers from the city. There were few tennis coaches in the city, for instance, Nairobi. There's so many tennis coaches in schools and in everything. So you find that people are exposed early enough. So it was also a structural issue. So that like is tennis spread throughout the country, for instance. And then I grew up in a pretty big city in Kenya, like say the like maybe the third largest city in Kenya, but I'd also never interacted with tennis. I'd interacted with so many sports. I used to play in primary school. I used to play cricket. I used to play handball. I used to play rounders, netball, football. Like I was a sport person, like from the onset. So I had interacted with all these sports, but I had never interacted with tennis. So it was also a structural problem that I came to do later in life. Yeah.
Em, el intercambio que había antes entre Camilo es que él decía que sí, que perder es difícil, pues claro, que conoce lo que se siente. Y entonces ella le preguntó si él se había encontrado a la misma dificultad. Él explicó que fue más al revés, porque él empezó ganando y después ganaba siempre y después perdió, en una competencia muy importante para él, pero que sí, pues que no se puede abandonar y hay que seguir entrenando. Y ella contestó que sí, que entonces cuando uno llega a perder piensa y se hace la pregunta, bueno, ¿en qué momento empezó a irme mal? ¿Cuándo pasó eso? Y para ella es un problema más que todo de estructura. Eh, Creció en una ciudad grande, pero nunca había estado en contacto con tenis. Eh, y había hecho muchos otros deportes como cricket, fútbol. I'm sorry, but I need to ask you because I'm not sure I understood it all of it very well. So you grew up in a big city, but why are you saying that there was a problem with structure?
Because I grew up in a pretty big city, like say the top three cities in Kenya,
Mhm.
but I had never been introduced to tennis. I'd also never seen tennis being played anywhere in my city. So
Okay, because it wasn't a well-known sport or very okay.
exactly, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Que sí, a pesar entonces, perdón, es que necesitaba algunas precisiones porque no lo había entendido todo bien, que a pesar de crecer en una ciudad grande donde había muchos otros deportes y la oportunidad de tocar muchos otros deportes, el tenis no estaba tan presente, entonces por eso dice que era un problema más que todo de estructura del tenis que no estaba tan bien implantado en la ciudad.
regarding this, because there were many other sports, is there like a stereotype or are girls conducted into some kind of sports? Like you have to practice this sport because it's more for girls than this sport and so on.
Yeah, precisely. Because, say, like in my school, when I just look at the sports that were being promoted, say netball, handball, they are being promoted a lot more than the other sports. And then I was I was in a girls' primary school. It was just girls only school. So I feel like also the sports that like we had coaches in handball, in netball, But say go to football, in rounders we had coaches. Say when you go to now like football, we didn't have any. So I feel like there's also that thing that this is a girl sport, this is a boy sport, and it actually plays a big role. I'm not saying like tennis is like that, but if I just look back at the sports that we used to get introduced to, there's definitely we can say that we were getting skewed on which sport to take and which one not to. Yeah.
La pregunta era si había algunos tipos de estereotipos de qué deportes eran para las chicas, otros para chicos. Ella contestó que sí, por cierto, sí. Su escuela primaria era una escuela para niñas, únicamente, y en su escuela había deportes como netball, fútbol, y había entrenadores para handball, para netball, pero de fútbol, por ejemplo, no había ninguno. Entonces, que sí, que hay en Kenia deportes considerados para chicas y otros para chicos, y que eso juega un papel importante en eso, y que pues no dice que sea el caso necesariamente para el tenis, pero que sí, hay que mirar que uno está dirigido desde una edad joven hacia un deporte u otro.
And has it changed through time that more girls are not conducted into these exact sports, but they are shown to a more spectrum, a wider spectrum of sports?
Yes, definitely. It's getting better and better. And if I look at, for example, at secondary school sports and university sports, you find that the same offerings given to boys is the same that is given to girls. So there is participation. There's almost like, in fact, there are some organizations that do 50-50, like you have to bring 50% to be boys, 50% to be girls. So like the same, if it's football, we have a football girls team, football boys team. So it's really getting better. And then just generally as the sporting movement, there's that push by the sporting movement to promote girls in sports. And if you look at most national federations, we are not there yet. Like for some sports, the women's game is still considered inferior to the men's game in terms of how much they are paid, in terms of their promotion, in terms just of the training that they go through. And I've actually seen this also working at the National Olympic Committee with different national federations, that for some, the men's game is promoted more than the women's. So like if you have like an international tournament, the women's matches will be, say, 2 days before or a day before the main day of the event of the tournament or something. And then like it's still not the same. It's not the same. Like we are trying to promote it, but we are not there yet. The women are still a bit inferior, at least in my country. The women's game is not considered at the same standard as the men's game in some, especially the team sports.
La pregunta era si eso de la dicotomía entre mujeres y hombres en los deportes ha podido cambiar con el tiempo. Ya contestó que sí, que está mejorando, que por ejemplo en las escuelas secundarias y en las universidades que se dedican a enseñar deporte, los mismos deportes se ofrecen a las mujeres y a los hombres. Hay organizaciones que hacen que sea 50%, 50%, que si hay un equipo de fútbol de hombres, perdón, hay que haber un equipo de fútbol de hombres, pero que falta todavía por mejorar, porque Porque sí, porque los deportes de mujeres siguen siendo considerados inferiores, se les promociona menos, el entrenamiento que se les ofrece puede ser de menor calidad, incluso las competencias o los partidos que hay de mujeres no van a recibir la misma promoción, se les va a promocionar como un día antes del partido. Y entonces sí, en Kenia pues hay todavía una margen de progreso, especialmente en los deportes de equipo.
Yeah, this is changing. I hope it's getting better in some countries regarding team sports for women. Team sports, yeah, the most known is football. I don't know if you've heard. Brazil.
Yeah, volleyball.
Yeah, This is a big reference, and this is a great movement. And talking about these movements, what kind of movements, or what actions is Kenya doing regarding the improvement of women participation in these sports, and they are promoted and improving their participation?
Okay. So for instance, for the National Olympic Committee, it's a very deliberate effort by the National Olympic Committee to increase the participation of women and girls in sports. So for instance, in teams, in national teams, for instance, if you're going to say Commonwealth, if you're going to Olympic Games, then usually we require that a national federation enters both men and female teams. And then in administration, we are trying to recruit more women into administration of sports, because I believe, like, if you have more women, we are still marginalized. We are still the less. I don't know. It's sports. It's still considered a men's world. So if we have more women in administration, in management, then probably the women's agenda and women and girls agenda can be pushed more. So as the National Olympic Committee, we are doing administration courses, and we are targeting specifically women. Not that we are not doing men, we are doing all genders, but there are very specific ones targeted only for women. Then just in our policy, in our policy of promotion of any kind, we usually ask the national federations that they so it's either you nominate a man and a woman for any opportunity that arises, or we ask deliberately that they consider women. And if we have, like, say, 4 opportunities, then we make sure that 2 are women, 2 are men, because you'll find that they're equally what is it called? They're equally like, you might find people at the same level, but if you don't give the chance to this other gender, then they might be taken over by the men. And again, our national federations are mostly run by men. Women are still really trying to catch up. We are trying to promote the 2/3 gender rule, but we are not there yet. We're still far from reaching that. So it has to be very, very deliberate that, okay, we are doing this, and we ask everybody to come with us. Yeah. So maybe I can mention something about my federation and why probably it also gave me a push. So in Tennis Kenya, as I was the executive officer of the National Tennis Federation for about 5 years. And in tennis, we had actually achieved a 50-50 rule of women and men in the board, in the executive board. So that helped a lot, because then you have this group of women, group of men, and then everybody is represented. So, like, in tennis, we never struggled to bring up girls. Like, it was never girls and women trying to catch up. So that really helped a lot. Even if you see in the development, you'll see like there's equal boys and girls who came up and advanced. You'll see in coaching, for instance, an equal, not really equal, but if you look like from the top, there are so many women coaches who are at the top of the ranks. Like our national coach is a woman, our junior tennis initiative coordinator is a woman, our Davis Cup captain, Davis Cup captain is a woman.
Okay, cool.
Like women have, like they can equally be as good, even in coaching, you know. So it's just giving them a chance and giving them that environment to grow. Because it doesn't mean like they got there because they were women. It's not the case at all. But they merited it. They worked for it. They're equally good. So it's just for us to open our minds and know like a Davis Cup captain can be a woman, doesn't have to be a man. Like who said it has to be a man, even though it is a men's team. So that's one very positive thing about the National Tennis Association. And that also gave me a bit of a push because I could see women who are really high up in their career, in their ranks. They are running their federation and they're running it well. And so it also gave me the push to know like, okay, yeah, we can do this. Like, you know, like, we can do this. Yeah.
La pregunta era ¿qué tipos de organizaciones, movimientos hay en Kenia para animar a mujeres y darles oportunidades de estar en deporte? Perdón, antes de eso, es que lo que llevó a la pregunta es que sí, bueno, que se notaba una mejoración.
Sí, una mejoría.
Una mejoría en la igualdad entre mujeres y hombres en los equipos, en los deportes colectivos, por ejemplo, con lo de Brasil, que ahora decidieron que el equipo femenino debiera ganar lo mismo que el equipo masculino. Y entonces, sí, la pregunta de en Kenia qué movimientos y organizaciones hay para promover esto también, esta misma igualdad. Bueno, que con el Comité Olímpico Nacional, en los equipos como en el lado administrativo se intenta contratar a más mujeres y que incluso tienen ¿cómo se dice? No, que incluso tienen promociones que están dirigidas específicamente a las mujeres. O sea, en su comunicación se dirigen a los hombres y a las mujeres, pero hay algunas que se dirigen específicamente a las mujeres. Están intentando nominar a hombres y mujeres o siempre pedir que mujeres sean consideradas para cada puesto. La cosa es darles su chance, darles la oportunidad, porque todavía no se llega a esa igualdad en la administración. Está siendo dominada principalmente por hombres. Pero en su caso, es más específicamente, no en Kenia en general de todos los deportes, sino en el caso del tenis, la federación en la que ella está, la igualdad está más presente. Ella es oficial ejecutiva de esa administración. Y bueno, para ella en el tenis las mujeres no tienen que pelear tanto como en otros deportes. Hay entrenadoras y entonces eso muestra que pueden ser tan buenas como los hombres, simplemente hay que darles la oportunidad de serlo. Y bueno, también ella precisa que no es porque se busque promover a mujeres que se les regala el puesto. Ellas de todas formas tienen que trabajar por ello y solamente que uno tiene que abrir su mente a eso, a darles la oportunidad. Entonces, a ella le hace sentirse positiva de que con su federación en el tenis le hace sentir que tiene que seguir empujando para mejorar, ir hacia adelante y es una cosa de que sí se puede.
Yeah, and it is true, and I read recently on the United Nations for Women. I read that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, yeah, I read that equality if men and women were working as equal and women gain the positions they deserve to be and they earn the money they deserve to earn. Yeah, lots of countries would overcome their poverty. So it is true if they work together. Yeah, it's gonna be much better.
Yeah, because I think each gender brings in very unique stuff. Even just in management, in I don't know, even at home and everything. So it's when you take one side and you don't take the other, then it's a bit difficult. So yeah, I think everybody just brings unique characteristics that can just help us to move on and move forward. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
Sí, también hablé yo que una publicación de las Naciones Unidas, una organización feminista, que si los hombres y las mujeres ganaran lo mismo, si a las mujeres se les diera lo que merecen en términos de salario, muchos países podrían salirse del estado de pobreza en el que están. Entonces hay que trabajar juntos para un mejor mundo, básicamente. Y ella contestó que sí, que cada género brinda lo suyo y que un género sin el otro hace las cosas más difíciles. Entonces que sí, que está totalmente de acuerdo.
Yeah, and how has this movement of the Tennis Federation in Kenya impacted on other sports organizations to promote women to work on management, also as coaches and join the teams?
So for tennis, how tennis has helped?
How has tennis impacted other teams and other organizations in Kenya?
Well, I just to I'll be told I'm doing PR for tennis, but it's actually true that in most forums, actually, tennis is shown as a role model.
Uh-huh.
And that's a really positive thing, just not for tennis but for sports in general. So tennis is seen as a role model, and it's in many forums it is used as an ideal example of what can be done and everything. And then the women in tennis itself have really gone out of their way to now just help like the movement and everything and their peers in other sports, just to see this and to like when we keep showing people that, especially like something like our Davis Cup captain, we keep showing people our Davis Cup captain is a woman, like that's really just a positive thing. So like people are starting to get it into their minds that really like we can bring up equally good coaches, administrators and everything in tennis, because if you just see like the running of the sport is good, So like that's a very positive thing, and I like that the executives and just the other people are going out and trying to get their peers also, and just generally the sports movement in Kenya to buy into this. Yeah.
La pregunta era cómo ese movimiento en la Federación de Tenis puede tener impacto en los otros deportes en términos de administración, pero también de entrenadores, entrenadoras. Ella contesta que si uno va en forums,
Ah, sí.
¿sí?
Sí. Web
Bueno, en discusiones en línea sobre ese tema, el tenis siempre aparece como el modelo, el ejemplo que hay que seguir. Y las mujeres de tenis hacen lo máximo, dan lo mejor de sí para también ayudar a otros movimientos y para seguir mostrando a la gente que sí se puede, simplemente. Y I'm sorry, but there's one thing.
Yeah. La Copa Davis in tennis.
Yeah?
It's in la Copa. Yeah, she would like. Can you tell more about this Davis Cup? Okay, I know about this, but yeah, for our public who don't know how they call it Davis Cup.
So Davis Cup is like the premier competition for men in the world. Like it is the biggest competition for men in the world. It's a team event, so it's played all over the world. It's just different, how do we call them, different groups. So like there's the elite is like the Davis Cup finals, and then you have like Davis Cup Group 1, Davis Cup Group 2, Davis Cup Group 3, Davis Cup Group 4, which has been introduced recently, but it's the most prestigious men's tournament in the world. So for Kenya, playing our most prestigious men's tournament and having a woman as the coach and captain of the team, that's really a big it's a big plus, it's a big issue. Like people don't even imagine it. Like there is maybe more like 2 or 3 other countries, I can't name them, but out of like 200 nations that play Davis Cup, you'll find like 3 nations which have women as coaches. So that's why for me, like that's it's a big thing. And then it's not just a coach, like it's someone who has taken us from group 3 to group 2 playoffs, like we are not just like stagnant, and we have a coach who's actually moving us up the rank. So that's pretty big.
Ok. Entonces, lo que me faltaba por entender, porque no siento, no soy tan conocedora del mundo del tenis, es que la entrenadora de la Davis Cup, la Copa Davis en tenis en Kenia, es una mujer, lo que es una cosa importante de destacar porque es pues la competencia mundial para hombres más prestigiosa del mundo, y es una mujer quienes entrena a esos hombres. Hay como 200 naciones que compiten en esa copa, y en esas 200 naciones los países que tienen una entrenadora tienen que ser como 2 o 3 como máximo. Entonces es algo importante de destacar.
Yeah, and yeah, tennis has always been on the top, and it's always the benchmark to promote equality and to promote what is fair, what should be fair in this world. And yeah, if Kenya, tennis in Kenya is promoting this is also something very important to take into account for our countries in Latin America, I think.
Yeah, I think also just to add, tennis, I think, is one of the sports. I don't know about many others, but tennis is one of the ones who actually they were the first ones to have equal prize money for both men and women, which was not the case, and it's quite rare to find, but just internationally, that is what is happening. So men and women have equal prize money in the Grand Slams, in the futures, and the challenges. And then in Kenya as well, so we have adopted this as well. So also in Kenya, any professional tournament competition, men and women have equal pay. And this is quite rare. And this is what women are still trying to fight in the world, that we need to have equal pay for men and women in sports.
That's true.
Yeah.
And even in, not only in competition, but also in management, everyone is paid equally?
In management?
Mm-hmm.
I can't talk too much about that because I don't have enough information about that.
Okay. Okay, but you know that in competition, the prizes, everyone is paid equally.
Yes, precisely.
Okay.
But in management, not regarding money, but in terms of treatment, it's treated equally.
Well, no, I mean, you can say that they're treated equally if they're not paid equally.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, sorry for my...
I mean,
sorry. Yeah,
they're
true.
not... I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, would
true.
you say that you're recognized equally if you're not paid equally?
Well, if I just look generally, like women are still fighting for equal pay. Like it's not the same. I don't have enough information to back this up, but just from the things I've seen, women are still trying to fight for equal pay with men. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Like if I go into my environment, I'm not very sure of that. Yeah, so I cannot comment too much on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Sorry. I just I just wanted to.
But in terms of, I would say that it is it's getting better, if not yet. Like in Kenya, our sports minister is a woman. Yeah, and then if you just look at management and everything, like from the Ministry of Sports, from other sports organizations, so you find there's a lot of women who are coming up and taking up positions, because that's the other thing. There is being given opportunities, and then there is also taking up the opportunities, taking up the challenges. Because sometimes I feel like we sell ourselves short. We see a big position and we don't think that's for us because there are other people we feel like they're better than us. So that's also the other thing. And that's also one thing that we need to do a lot of education about. Like these opportunities are here, they're for everybody. So just take up the opportunity. Just you need to feel like you merit that opportunity and take it up. So that's actually another thing that I've actually observed. Like go for the big posts, you just look at, say, if you look at elections of our sports federations and stuff, when you look at elections, then women will be taking like secretary, will be taking treasurer, assistant treasurer, like why not go for presidents? Like if we were recently looking for women presidents in national federations in Kenya, and we could just count 4 out of about 30-something national federations. We could only count 4. So why aren't women going for these positions? Challenge. You might be as good as the next person. So that's the other thing, that we need to take up the opportunities. Don't wait for it to be handed over to you. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry. Entonces, sí, el tenis es una referencia en el mundo del deporte en cuanto a la igualdad entre mujeres y hombres, y entonces podría ser también el ejemplo de Kenia, un ejemplo a seguir en Latinoamérica. Ella mencionó que en tenis los precios y el salario. ¿Cómo? El salario es igual para mujeres y hombres en las competencias, lo que es escaso en el deporte de manera general. Y en Kenia tienen un salario igualitario. Yo quise preguntar si esa igualdad se mostraba solamente por los que competían o si también estaba presente en el mundo administrativo, y ya no puedo contestar porque no tiene suficiente información sobre eso para contestar bien completamente, pero hay que destacar que el ministro de Deportes en Kenia es una mujer, y que también porque antes mencionaba que en su federación se trata de siempre dar una oportunidad a mujeres de tener un puesto en la administración deportiva, pero ella dice que también se trata de poder tomar esa oportunidad, porque pasa demasiado a menudo que las mujeres se vayan por un puesto un poquito más bajo, de pronto por miedo a sentirse legítima, y que entonces que hay que saber tomar esas oportunidades, porque en las elecciones las mujeres se van por el puesto de secretaria o de treasurer, de tesorera, pero de presidente hay muy pocas. Sobre 30 federaciones nacionales, hay como 4 mujeres que son presidentes de estas federaciones. Entonces hay que mostrarse a la altura, pensar que sí se puede, porque las mujeres pueden cumplir ese papel tan bien como un hombre. Y que sí es posible, y hay que tomar esas oportunidades.
How has your position created and promoted and encouraged other women to not only have the aspiration to go to that position as yours, but also to go further, to have bigger goals?
All right. So first of all, I was the executive officer of the National Tennis Federation for 5 years, and at the moment, I am the first programs officer of the National Olympic Committee of Kenya. This is I'm actually like the first person to hold this position. So for me, that's I just usually hope that gives someone the push that we can actually take up these positions. But I get a lot of feedback from young people, from my peers, and from everyone. Not everyone, but I get enough feedback from people around me, telling me that that it's great that I have this position, and usually I just hope that I am motivating the next person to just rise up and take up that similar positions, and even go for more and aspire for more. So for me, I just usually I try to do a lot of mentorship for people who are in sports, who are upcoming, who are doing what, that these things are there. Sports is a career, for one, because that also needs to be emphasized. I think a lot of people out here, they do not know that sports is a career, for one. Once you're not an athlete, like, we feel like that's it, that's the end. So that's also a perception that I'm trying so hard to just demystify from people around me. Like, even my family and my friends are like, okay, so you're a sports administrator, okay, what do you do? Like, what? You're like, okay, is that even a job? So most people actually don't understand that like there is a career in sports. The sports business is big. You can be an event organizer, be a coach, you can be a technical official, you can be a manager, you can be a physiotherapist, you can be a sports scientist. I mean, like I can name so many, but then the perception still out here is about just sports as a career itself. Like, is sports really a career? Like when I was going to do my master's in sports administration, like people were not getting it. Like I did not study sports as a first degree. I studied public relations. Then I'm going for master's in sports administration. So people were not getting it. Like, okay, you're going to do a master's in sports. Okay, so then what, like what next? Like what work will you do? Like, is that even a career? Like people are not getting it. And it was a bit cringy
Yeah.
to keep explaining about the work that you do. But you see now that's a very wrong perception, because sports industry is big, first of all, and sports has the power to actually be used to solve so many problems in society and everything. Like now, for the SDGs, UN actually identified sports as one of the tools that can be used to achieve some of the sustainable development goals. So first of all, it's just that perception, and that's one thing that I really want to do in my position, and then just personally to just educate people that, okay, I landed into sports administration not because I wanted to. Like even me, when I was in university, I didn't think that I would be working in sports. I don't know, 10 years later. But then I couldn't continue as a tennis player. Like by the time I was 22, I knew I can't play tennis. Like if I look at how far the other people are and where I am, like to bridge that gap, and then just the resources that are needed to make me be as good as the person that I was looking up to, it was a bit far. So I sort of turned and went into administration, and see, that's one of the things now that I landed into it by accident. But probably, like if I look at my whole life, I was probably preparing myself for this. So that's one of the things that I just want to do, even in my position, to just make people know that, okay, your sports career is cut short. So what next? You have so many other options. There are many options. If you really choose sports as a career, you have many other options, even if you're not a professional athlete. Sorry, Maria, I've talked a lot.
No.
Don't worry.
I have to take back.
Yeah, we ran out of paper.
I ran out of paper. It was my fault. I
Don't worry.
I didn't prepare as I should have. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Entonces, la pregunta era, ¿cómo piensas que tu posición ha podido animar a otras mujeres, inspirarlas a llegar a tu posición o incluso ir más allá y tener como meta algo más grande todavía? La respuesta es que ella ha sido oficial ejecutiva de la Federación Nacional por 5 años. Ella fue la primera persona en tener esa posición, la primera mujer en tener esa posición. Entonces ella recibe mucho feedback de retroalimentación de jóvenes y de gente alrededor de ella que le dice que es genial, es chévere que ella haya logrado ese puesto, y espera poder motivar a otra gente a alzarse y sí, a tener como aspiraciones más altas todavía. Y algo que realmente quiere destacar es que el deporte es una carrera, que no está solamente el atleta y que uno cuando deja de ser atleta es el fin. Su trabajo constante es tratar de desmitificar, gracias, esto, porque mucha gente cree que no es un trabajo, pero hay todo un mundo detrás de las, quiero decir, como en el mundo de las películas, no está solamente el actor, hay todo un equipo atrás, detrás de la cortina, ¿no? Hay los fisioterapeutas, los técnicos, los psicólogos, la administración, todo. Ella hizo una maestría en administración deportiva y la gente en su entorno no entendía. Le decía, bueno, ¿y después dónde te hace llegar? Y ella tenía que explicarlo siempre. Trabajo contraste de explicar a la gente que el deporte puede ser un trabajo, que incluso ahora se está diciendo que el deporte puede ser una herramienta para llegar a algunos objetivos de desarrollo sostenible. Entonces, su objetivo también es educar a la gente acerca de eso, porque incluso ella aterrizó en esa profesión sin realmente planificarlo. Es que era pues una jugadora de tenis, pero no podía seguir a los 22 años. Entonces aterrizó ahí como por accidente, pero que si da una mirada hacia atrás, es que sí como si se estuviera preparando por esto toda su vida. Y, y entonces hay que realmente saber eso, de que después de que se acabe la carrera como atleta, hay otra cosa que uno puede seguir y que hay muchas opciones siguiendo en el deporte.
Yeah, and it's true. For example, in my country, many people say, "Oh, you can live of sports. Sports is not rewarding. Sports is just like a big fantasy."
So it's not only in Kenya.
Yeah. Yeah, I had teachers at school, and they used to say that, yeah, you cannot live from sports. You cannot take something. Yeah, you better focus on your studies instead of sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's quite common.
Yeah.
It's $1 billion industry.
Yeah, it's a big industry. True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and okay, yeah, she's going to translate. Don't worry.
Sí, que en la experiencia de Camilo él también encuentra que todo el mundo le decía que no se puede vivir del deporte, que es una fantasía. Sus profesores le decían, mejor, mejor concéntrate en tus estudios. Y ella contestó que sí, que escuchar eso es común, pero si uno lo piensa es una industria de $1.000 millones.
Yeah, and talking about this, two last questions. Who inspired you to go into management? Or what inspired you?
It must be the people around me, my bosses, because I had two bosses actually whose main business was sports business. So they were event managers. My immediate boss and another one, my two bosses, were just sports. That sports was their career. Sports was their business. And I just used to admire that. And then for me also, like, to what I used to think is, if I could work for something that I'm passionate about, like, what could be better than that? So yeah, my boss Wanji and Wanjiro Karani and Francis Mutuku inspired me a lot. And these two people also really believed in me and gave me the push to keep going. Like, just a lot of responsibility that they used to give me, and I was like, really, like, you're really trusting me with all this responsibility. So that really just kept pushing me on. And my former president, Mrs. Pauvirawal as well. So she just used to give me opportunities. So there's something going on, there's a training, there's a meeting, there's something. Like, okay, you go and represent us. Okay, so are you available? Take this, take that, take this. So they really not only inspired me, but they also helped me to keep growing and to keep going. Especially that responsibility that they kept giving to me. I really I really admire that, and I was like, okay, I cannot let these people down. And then I just kept going and kept going and kept maintaining myself in the sport. Then when the opportunity came for a master's course, a scholarship opened up. My boss was like, hey, I think this is perfect for you. And I was like, yeah, I think this is really perfect for me, because up till like maybe 3 years down the line or 4 years down the line, when I started working in sport, I had actually decided that I am here to stay. So I was there to stay. I knew I was there to stay. I was not sure like where am I going or everything, because but I knew that I wanted to be in sports. Then some few years down the line, I knew that I wanted to be in sports events. So what better thing than to marry my love for sports, marry my public relations background and my passion into a career. That's really what I wanted to do. So when the opportunity came for taking a master's in sports administration, I was like, okay, this is mine. I knew that was mine. Then I was competing with like 200 countries. It was one position for advertised by International Tennis Federation for all their affiliates in the country, in the world, and that's like 200 and something. So I was competing with all this, but I was like, okay, I think this is mine. Put in an application, and I was selected out of everybody else in the world. And again, I was the first person. I was the first candidate of the International Tennis Federation to be selected for this course. So for me, that was that was big. Like that was really big for me. And then when I was finishing my master's, an opportunity comes for me to do international events management, a diploma in international events management. And I mean, I knew that this is mine. Like, like I just used to think that, okay, all these things have just been put there for me. And for me, I was just like, I'm taking all the opportunities that I can get to just improve myself, because I knew I want to be an administrator and I want to be a really good one. And I'm on my path to that. So yeah, I took the course. I took another course in Paris University in Paris, in south of Paris, in international events management. So I really thank the people who I have had a very good support system behind me, just encouraging me and pushing me, and it has helped me a lot to be where I am. Yeah.
Okay. La pregunta era, ¿quién te inspiró a irte por la administración deportiva, o qué te inspiró? La respuesta fue que fueron sus jefes, dos jefes, jefes o jefas. Were your bosses women or men?
The what?
Your bosses, were they men or women? Because in English we don't have...
Yeah, I had a president who was a woman when I just joined Tennis Kenya. I had a president and a secretary general who were women. And then after they left, I had a secretary general who was a woman. And the other one the one I mentioned, Francis, is a man. Yeah, so... Yeah.
Ok, entonces jefas, o sea, una presidenta también, que era una mujer, que entonces estaban en el mundo del deporte, y los admiraba y ella pensaba ya que quería trabajar por su pasión. Entonces, esas dos personas, sus jefes, creyeron en ella, la empujaron, le dieron siempre cada vez más responsabilidades. La presidenta que tenía también le dio oportunidades, le decía, con tal o tal evento, le decía, bueno, ve y represéntanos, ve a tal evento, ve a tal evento. Entonces, eso la inspiró mucho y ellas le ayudaron a, a mantener creciendo, dándole estas responsabilidades. Entonces pensaba que no podía decepcionarlas. Y después surgió la oportunidad de irse para una maestría con una beca y su jefa le dijo, eso está perfecto, es perfecto para ti. Y ella dijo, sí, eso es perfecto para mí. Entonces, ella ya sabía que se quedaría en el mundo del deporte, no sabía bien por dónde iba o cómo, pero sí tenía esa idea de que quería casarse con su pasión y transformarla en una carrera. Y en esa beca estaba compitiendo con 200 países, solo había un puesto abierto y ella dijo, ese puesto es mío, y sí fue suyo. Entonces, también se siente orgullosa de que haya sido la primera candidata de la Federación de Tenis Internacional. Después de la maestría le vino otra oportunidad de entrar en la administración de organizaciones de eventos internacionales. Yo sentía como que las cosas estaban puestas ahí en su camino para ella, entonces ya pues cuando ella las cogía y cogía las oportunidades. Después también pudo hacer otra carrera en París y entonces siente que siempre ha recibido un apoyo de un sistema detrás de ella que sí, que la apoyaba.
Nice story, and I know a little bit of this story of your story.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, go.
And one last question is, what song or poem or film or person saying let's say discourse or situation keeps you inspired, motivated to keep working and keep promoting this job to other women, to encourage them and to keep you inspired?
Okay. Well, I have this song that I always play almost every day when I wake up. By the script, you can be the greatest, you can be the best, you can be the superhuman banging on your chest and you're seated in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, I love this song. But anyway, just aside from that, there's a lot more things that inspire me. I'm inspired by just the people around me. Like I'm really surrounded by grounded people, motivated, passionate people. So they really inspire me to just be the best at what I do, just to do my work with excellence as I observe like what they do. So I think that has helped me a lot and keeps pushing me. But also, I also just have the intrinsic motivation to keep improving, to keep using sports to create a better world, to create better people. And I really believe that we can do more than what we are doing now to make this world a better place. Yeah, that's it.
What can you give us the title of the song that you were talking
Hall of
about?
Fame. Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Who's the singer or the sorry?
The script.
Script.
The script, yeah.
Okay. La pregunta era si tiene alguna canción, poema, algún dicho, una persona que la inspire y que la mantenga motivada a motivar y animar a más gente. Y tiene ella una canción que se llama Hall of Fame, la banda se llama The Scripts, cuya letra es muy animadora, muy inspiradora. Y de resto dice que por lo general la gente que es alrededor de ella es gente muy apasionada y entonces ella los observa, los ve y la motivan, pero también tiene una motivación intrínseca que pues lo que busca es crear un mundo que sea mejor, con mejores personas en él.
Thank you very much for your words, for your time. This is very, very inspiring. And yeah, I know you always do a great job. I know you as a hard worker.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish you the best for the things that you are working for. And I know that this is a very bright future you're working for Kenya, for your sport, and also for your future in the world of sports.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a hard work, but it always pays off.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It feels like yeah, you get really small wins, and it really just builds up to something bigger. So it's slow, but it's progress. And I've seen progress. I've seen what my work has done for someone else and someone else. So it's small wins and just keeps the motivation going.
Y muchas gracias. Todas esas palabras han sido muy inspiradoras. Se sabe que es una trabajadora que trabaja muy duro y entonces se le desea lo mejor para su futuro. Y ella dice que son como pequeños vientos que se agregan el uno al otro y que acaban construyendo algo y llevan al progreso, que ella sí puede ver el progreso.
Yeah, thank you very much one more time, and thank you for taking your time here on Sunday. And yeah, I hope this will impact more other people, not only, well, in Kenya, you have a very nice job, but also here in Latin America, that, yeah, we have a lot of work to do, but we all together, we will do something nice for our people. And of course, to bring equality to help, yeah, because I'm only a voluntary to help encourage more women to work for equality.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me and just for bringing the stories of other Sheroes from around the world. They're really inspiring, and I think just knowing you're not alone, because I've heard the stories of some other presenters who are before, and you find that your challenges are more or less the same. So it's nice to know that, okay, we can be just a network of people working together and helping each other grow, and that these challenges are universal. Yeah. Thank you, Hisluma. Thank you, Mahia. Thank you, Camilo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about the interrupting and everything. It's just sometimes I forget my own, like I'm just here to translate and I get curious and I want to,
she has a great job.
You have a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
Debo traducir que lo que dijo al fin, que me parece muy interesante, que agradece el trabajo de Camilo de estar promocionando la palabra de otras Sheroes, porque eso permite ver que una no está sola y que los challenges, los retos que se pueden enfrentar pueden ser los mismos a través del mundo, entonces que uno puede construir como una red de personas apoyándose. Lo encuentro lindo.
Gracias a todos por estar el día de hoy. Agradecemos a Suzan de Kenia por estar aquí. También agradecemos a Marion que ha hecho este gran trabajo de traducir para nosotros el día de hoy, que es un día, pues es domingo y todos estamos tranquilos, así que ella ha hecho todo su gran trabajo. Gracias nuevamente a todos por estar aquí. Recuerden que esto es un gran trabajo que debemos hacer como sociedad y que reconocernos el uno al otro es el inicio y también apoyar. El apoyo es algo importantísimo que necesitamos para mejorar como sociedad. En esta ocasión nosotros lo hablamos desde la parte deportiva, pero también hay otros muchos ámbitos en los que podemos realizar apoyo. Y es un trabajo constante, es un día a día. Y bueno, siempre hay mucho para hacer. Simplemente soy un voluntario, pero me siento inspirado porque hay muchas otras personas que traen un gran trabajo y el trabajo también está en ayudar a reconocer todos estos esfuerzos. Gracias a todos por estar el día de hoy. Ya agradecimos a Suzan, agradecemos a Marion Comien, que es mi esposa, y gracias por estar aquí. Nos vemos la próxima semana con una nueva entrevista. Tendremos a una chica de India, se llama Sukriti Bhardwaj, y también nos va a contar su historia, cómo ha sido todo su proceso dentro del mundo del deporte, y ella también pertenece al mundo de la administración deportiva. Entonces vamos a escuchar una historia también muy interesante de otro lado del mundo, que eso también nos ayuda a cultivar un poco esas diferencias y también a motivarnos más. Gracias a todos y que tengan un feliz domingo y nos veremos en una próxima ocasión. Bye bye.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye, thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.